Welcome aboard, all you dropouts. It is time to head back to school. Man, we're coming down the home stretch here. Only got a couple shows left. Time to make hay. Time to kick it into gear. It's good to be here. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. You know me. I'm your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com. Joined by a couple of my pals from Winners and Winers. I'm joined as I am every week by the one and only
Scott Rochelle, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
There you go. And the guy who just used the same code as last week, we forgot to kick him out, so he's back. He's back, and we made him step back a little bit from the farm play this week, though not quite so hands-on. You know him, you love him. He's Buffalo's favorite son. It's Chris King. What's up, buddy?
Good to see you guys. And you interrupted my play, so I couldn't introduce myself as Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Great, glad to hear it. Broke your string. So, Chris, I know you've got big news. You're bringing back just parlays.
Correct. We'll be back Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern when everybody's either, still hungover or sleeping.
Nice.
Well, you figure you might be knocked out with all the tryptophan from the turkey. I know I've personally got a 28-pound turkey in my fridge that I'll be making tomorrow. So, there's plenty of that to go around. But,
I was going to ask if you were
we'll be back.
If you were a stayer or a goer. You're a stayer and you're a hoster, huh?
Yeah, I like to cook better because that way I know that there's going to be food that I want to eat.
I'm going to ask, though, it's 28 pounds. How exactly do you go about cooking it?
Same way you would cook anything else.
I'm saying, you just, do you have something big enough to actually, handle?
Oh, yeah. I got one of those big roasters, I know, Steen, you said your son's smoking one, right?
Smoking one. Now, do you tint the breast and all that stuff, Chris?
Yeah, I do, just because that way you keep all the juices in there and everything. You don't want to have a dry turkey.
Well, and they cook at different speeds, so that's the hard thing about cooking a gigantic bird like that is getting everything temp at the same time. So solid, sounds delicious. And Rachel, I know you're not hosting anybody. You have to go buy some turkey pot pies at the store and throw them in the microwave. I assume you're going to, let's say, mom's house.
Close. Going to a restaurant to have a Thanksgiving feast with my dad and my grandparents.
All right. Now, I know you're Jewish. You're going to a Chinese restaurant?
No, we are not. We are just going to...
That's Christmas, right?
We're having actual turkey.
All right. Very good.
Are they going to cut the head off the goose right there?
The goose? What?
No, because he says if you're going to a Chinese restaurant.
Oh. I thought it was a Jewish thing. I'm like,
all I know is after the meal, I'll ask for a fortune cookie and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Is that good enough? Is that a good enough compromise?
We should start a line of fortune cookies that just have parlays in them. Just have take TCU minus the points. That should be it.
Just open up a fortune cookie and the advice is shop your lines. That's just all it says. Just open up a bunch of random stuff.
Well, you get lottery numbers now. Who the hell needs those?
That's true.
That's true.
Lottery's going to hit. Come on. So if you guys are regulars, or even if you're not, if you happen to tune in last week, you saw Scott and I get back on the right side of the ledger. Each of us went 2-1.
You almost overtook me. You almost did.
So close, man. Just a ridiculous beat on the Hawaii UNLV under. But that was the only one that I lost. I had Washington over Colorado. I had Duke plus 7.5. And
the Duke one was lucky too, so I guess it kind of balances out.
Yeah, giveth and taketh away. UNLV Hawaii under 55.5. No, landed 56. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Scott. You had Wake Forest minus 9.5. They decided to play that week. Congratulations. They'll said Utah minus 2. Play that I didn't particularly care for, and it did not come in.
Well, Knicks ended up playing. I was gambling on the injury report.
But you rallied, taking UMass with plus 33.5 against the team that had not scored 31 points all season. So, congratulations. That was a nice, easy winner. Chris, you went 1-2. You had TCU, which I also had in my play of the day, so I can't make fun of you for that. I like that.
Yeah, TCU was disappointing. They could have had the 2-point conversion and Duggan overthrew DeMarcado, who was wide open. I want to know how the guy misses an extra point and then hits a 43-yard field goal on a scramble drill with no time left to win the game.
Shout out to the clock management by Dykes, by the way, in the final 30
You know what, though? I mean, you can say that, but they were 100% ready to go. They had everything set with about 6 seconds left, had plenty of time. I know everybody's roasting them, but They pulled it off.
But hey, at the end of the day, if you win the game, it doesn't matter how you manage the clock.
Well, that's right, and they executed it to perfection. They knew how long it took. They knew they had the time, and they got him out there. They got him off. They got him on. Had extra time to spare, so I got no beef.
Yeah, the frustrating part, though, like I said, is how he managed to hit that, but he couldn't hit an extra point when he had all day.
Oh, that's true too. Chris, then you had the Beavers. What's wrong with the Beav? Well, nothing. They covered the 7.5, and then you finished it off in the same game that I had, and it ended about the
stupid
same
UNLV.
As you had UNLV minus 10.5. I told you that Hawaii team just inexplicably covers for no reason. They're a terrible team. If you watch that team, you go, "What do you like about this team?" You go, "Nothing." If you gamble on them, you go, What do you like about this team?" "Oh, they cover." Oh, well, there you go.
That's about it. And you were right on that one. I thought UNLV would play better because they looked good against Fresno State, and they just apparently decided they'd rather stay on the beach than read the playbooks.
Vegas continues to kick our ass in one form or another. So that takes us on the week to 2-1 each. Of course, 1-2 for Chris. Rachel, you still got that one game lead, buddy. 21-15. I'm 20-16. Our farm drops to 4-7. We could roast Chris, but Scott, you and I'd pick 3 losers in a row. So what the hell? And that was a play that we both liked. We liked that North Carolina game. We thought they would show up. They did not.
Well, they did
early. They just didn't show up the rest of the game.
They're up 17-0 in the middle of the second quarter. You're like, this is on cruise control. Just put the brick on the accelerator and just walk away. And they scored nothing for the rest of the game. Congratulations.
Yeah. That was horrible.
Just horrific. So, Scott, you have your choice of people today, but we've narrowed it down to the guy that's the bottom of the barrel. Rachel, do you want to say anything for the last time this year?
Well, it's the both of you because I'm going last. So losers walk to both of you.
There you go. Chris, kick us off, buddy.
All right, I'm going to start with I like Appalachian State in this one. They played Georgia Southern on the road down at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro. Georgia Southern, they can throw the ball. The problem is they can't play defense. You look at the numbers, Georgia Southern giving up 227.5 yards per game on the ground, along with 5.5 yards per carry and 23 scores.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, and you know what? App State actually runs the ball pretty well. They're 32nd in the country, 188.8 yards a game, 4.9 yards a carry. They can rotate 3 or 4 different guys in there. You got Peoples, you got Noel, you got Harrington. I'm sure they can go find some other guy that has eligibility and put him in there too. Amani Marshall has been good. Chase Bryce, he does't run the ball much, but he can throw it. And guess what? Georgia Southern can't defend the pass either. I like Kyle Van Treese for Georgia Southern. I watched him play at UB for the last couple of years before he transferred, and all of a sudden, with Clay Helton, Georgia Southern's throwing the ball all over the place instead of being the triple option team that you confuse with Georgia State. But you're looking here. Georgia Southern, 108th in scoring defense. They're giving up almost 31 points a game. App State is aggravated that they're only 6-5. They come off a disappointing showing against Coastal and Marshall. They came back, beat Old Dominion last week. I think they'll go on the road and take care of Georgia Southern here, finish the year 7-5 for Sean Clark heading into a bowl game, and leave Georgia Southern on the outside because that'll drop the Eagles to 5-7.
All right, very good. Statesboro, known for their college, and what else are they known for? Anybody know? Chris, you know?
I know that's where AJ Styles is from, but
they're known for their blues. Statesboro Blues, a great song.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep.
I was gonna guess. I don't even know what the hell I was gonna guess. I got nothing. I got nothing.
That's why I
got absolutely nothing.
I didn't want to put you on the spot because I knew that wasn't your generation. So, but you stepped right in and went, "Wait a minute, I got a bad take." I'm like, okay, I was trying to say you.
I didn't even have a take. I actually didn't even have a take. So,
hold my beer.
For my pick, I'm pulling out my old wooden bucket. I checked it for leaks. It looks good. I'm going to put it back down there. Take the rope and lower it down. I'm headed to the well one more time, boys. Hello, Colorado. I've got Utah minus 30. You've seen me in weeks past extrapolate all the reasons why this Colorado team is terrible. They're basically basically bottom 10 offense and defense. There's nothing they do well except play in a really cool stadium and great location. They set a new bar every week about how shitty a team can be. They really do. And before you look at this line, you go, well, it's 30 points. I don't want to lay 30 points. I get it. Here's the deal with Colorado. 4 times this season, they've been 28-point dogs or better. You know how many they've covered? They've covered nada. Not a one. Not only that, they have lost. They have failed to beat the number by an average of 10.2 points per game. So if anything, this terrible Colorado team has been overvalued this season. That's right. And they are just 2-9 against the number. That ain't getting any better. Yeah, Utah stumbled last week. I don't care. It's Colorado. I wouldn't want to be Colorado this week because they're going to get their ass whooped. Utah, minus 30.
Colorado was in it last week against Washington until they actually kicked the game off.
What'd they lose by, 45?
47.
47? Okay. Utah was my honorable mention. I actually had a write-up on that as well, and I changed my mind at the last minute. But Utah, really good at running the ball. Colorado gives up 200-plus rushing yards a game. They can't stop anything. So,
you can't go down in the weeds and look at who they're playing and go, well, you know, because you do the same thing with USC. Well, they've been disappointing. They kind of underperform. Nope. Doesn't matter. Just lay it and walk away.
But you look at every good team in the Pac-12 they played against. Washington, USC, Oregon. They've gotten buried by like 38 points against each of them. So it doesn't really matter.
I'm telling you. That's exactly right. They've been 28-point dogs or better. They've been beat by more than 10 points. They've had over the line. So, yeah, they're awful.
Yep. But for my first one, I'm going to go to another big favorite here on the road. It's going to be a bit of a sleeper game here, but I am going to fade a team that might be worse than Colorado. Maybe. I'm going to fade Florida International. I'm going to take Middle Tennessee State minus the 19.5 at minus 108 on Bet Online. Middle Tennessee State quietly been decent lately, as it has won 3 of its last 4 games. Florida International has lost each of its last 3 games by at least 34 points. And Florida International offensively, no bueno. It has scored less than 15 points in each of its last 3. Played against UTEP last week, lost 40-6 or 41-6. FIU had 71 total yards of offense against UTEP in the entire game. And now Middle Tennessee State, of course, has a very good passing game with Cunningham. I think they're going to air it out against this team. But Middle Tennessee State has won 4 of the last 5 meetings. 3 of those wins have been by at least 20 points. You're auto-fading Colorado. I'm going to auto-fade Florida International. You can't record less than 80 yards of offense against UTEP and expect me to think you're going to keep this game close. If Middle Tennessee State, who just dominated Florida Atlantic last week, ends up scoring 35, maybe even 30, you still might be good. So I'm going to take it because I think Cunningham goes nuts. Give me Middle Tennessee State to win in a rout.
Yeah, the fun part about that game is, like you said, FIU's been outscored 144-27 in their last 3 games. They've given up 24 touchdowns through the air. Cunningham threw for 448 last week against Florida Atlantic, a career high. I'd be surprised if Florida International, breaks double digits in points because, like you said, they've been terrible all season offensively, and they like to turn the ball over.
There you go. Well, Chris, this is a rivalry weekend. A lot of bad blood, and you're heading to the Northwest with a little Apple Bowl action.
Well, it's the Apple Cup. I mean,
the Apple Cup, not the Apple
the Apple
Bowl.
Cup. You have the Egg Bowl. There's a lot of foods that are being used.
Egg Bowl, Apple Cup.
After living in Seattle for 2 years, you have to hear about the Apple Cup about as often as you have to hear about Starbucks. But I'm going to go with the Huskies here over Washington State. I know the Cougars are playing at home. I know they looked decent beating the Arizona schools, while Washington was beating up on the Little Sisters of the Poor, formerly known as Colorado, last week, winning by the narrow margin of 54-7. Washington, they lead the nation in passing offense at 366.8 yards a game. Penix has looked very good. Remember when he was in Indiana and people thought, hey, this guy might be okay, and then he kept getting hurt. That hasn't happened in Washington. Caleb DeBauer's done a great job with that team because we watched the Huskies flounder under Chris Peterson and under Jimmy Lake.
He got an extension, I think, yesterday.
He deserves one. Jake Dickert, he's done a decent job in his first year running the program for the Cougars after the whole Nick Rolovich situation last year. Cameron Ward's been decent. I just don't think he's as good as Penix. I think the line's only this low because of the fact that Washington State is a top 25 team in scoring defense. They're 23rd at 19.8 points a game, while Washington is 62nd. But, the Huskies bring the 7th-ranked scoring offense in the country to this game, averaging a shade under 40 points a game. They're averaging 505.2 yards of offense a contest. I just think it's going to be a little too much for Washington State to handle. And with such a narrow margin, only 1.5 points, I'll take the Huskies here to get their 10th win of the season and take down Washington State, take the Apple Cup back after they were trounced last year in this situation in Seattle.
I'm going to ask you a question, though, because I was kind of sneaking in some college basketball viewing while we're doing the show. Wisconsin just beat Dayton 43-42 in a basketball game. Does Washington score more than Wisconsin in a winning effort? Do you think they get to 44?
This week, no.
No.
I think that playing the under is probably the safer route there because I just think that Washington might get to 30 or 35, but I don't know if they're going to get to past 43. I am disappointed Dayton lost. I figured they would have beaten Wisconsin.
They only held them to 43 points. They tried their best, but I don't know. That was just disgusting. But I agree. Penix is a really good quarterback. I actually watched a decent amount of that game last week where Washington State dominated. I think people are overreacting to Arizona, who just beat UCLA, clearly was celebrating the win because they couldn't make a bowl game and they got smacked. So I'm not exactly, I'd say, surprised. Arizona no-showed after a big upset win, but Washington's a good football team.
That line smells so much.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. It'll probably bite me like the TCU line did last week.
It sounds like you're getting the okey doke, man. I don't know. I'm just naturally skeptical because that line seems like it ought to be closer to 4.5, 5 to me.
I'm just thinking it's because the game's in Pullman as opposed to at Husky Stadium.
I know. Yeah, rivalry and all that shit. I get it. All right. Well, good luck, buddy. It looks like a no-brainer. It absolutely does. And I've been on this Washington team. I like the way they play. Like what Penix has done. They had their look-ahead stumble there, but
yeah, heck, you were on them last week.
Well, I was also fading Colorado. So, all right. Speaking of rivalry games, here's a big one, and this is a big one for me personally. It's Kansas State over KU. Rock Chalk. Oh no, I'm sorry. Is that what I have loaded up? Oh, we're saving. That's right. We're saving. Okay, very good.
You talking to yourself? Or you talking to us?
Halfway. I was about 75%.
I didn't touch anything on your slides. That's all.
You didn't?
No, I did not touch anything.
Okay. I wonder why I loaded. Okay. Anyway, I loaded them in different.
Where you moved all those other ones to the bottom.
Well, to quote Kevin Meaney, I don't care. All right, here we go. Jayhawks are not good. All of a sudden, they look a lot like the Jayhawks. Lost 5 of their last 6. Defense has fallen off the cliff. They give up a shit ton of yards on the ground. They give up 264 yards or better the last 3 of their last 4, and 274.4 in those 5 games is the average. Will Howard looks like he is the man going forward. Doesn't have the running game that Martinez does, but he is really, really improved as a passer. He gives them another dynamic, another facet of their game that they do not have with Martinez at the helm. I like this K-State team. Howard can run a little bit when he needs to, but you've got Deuce Vaughn. Again, I call him every week the best running back most of you have never heard of. And I think between Howard and Vaughn and this fading KU defense, it's a home game for K-State. It's a rivalry game, to say the least. They've had issues over the last few games of the fuck KU chants. They were trying to curb those. We'll see how it goes. These teams hate each other a lot. KSU minus 11.5 to make the Big 12 championship game.
I was going to say they didn't officially clinch, right?
No, they have to win, or Texas has to lose.
Okay, so basically they have to win.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say this: you got to give Lance Leopold credit for what he's done with Kansas. I know that like you said, they've struggled of late, but the last time they won more than 3 games in a season was 2009 when
they're going to
Mangino was there.
It's massive credit.
Huge.
He got an extension. He should, but the fact is they can't stop the run. And Bijan Robinson had basically 250 yards in 2.5 quarters. Like Vaughn should.
Well, that's because Bijan Robinson was rested because he ran for 29 yards against TCU.
Point is they can't stop the run, and Kansas State wants to run the ball. So
what he
I
said.
like that play.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. For my last pick, I'm going to go with a primetime game. It's actually a big one between Notre Dame and USC. USC fresh off of the very entertaining rivalry win against UCLA. But even though USC keeps winning, they keep giving up points, and I'm going to try to fade this defense. I'm going to take Notre Dame team total over 29.5 at -120 on DraftKings. Thought about the spread. I kind of like Notre Dame on the money line, to be honest, but I'm going to take the team total over because this USC defense is garbage. To go through the numbers here, USC has allowed at least 35 points in 3 of its last 4 games, gave up 35-plus points to UCLA, excusable, Arizona, iffy, I guess, and California. Now, that's impressive to give up 35-plus points to California, but USC, I mentioned how it's off of the emotional rivalry game win against UCLA. They already clinched the Pac-12 title game appearance. Maybe you can argue for a look-ahead spot, while Notre Dame, of course, is not in a conference, so this is the final game to make a statement, quote-unquote. But Notre Dame has also been really good offensively lately. Notre Dame has scored at least 35 points in each of its last 5 games. They're physical on offense and the defensive lines. I think that Pine's been very good since he took over the starting job. And fading USC's defense has been a really, really profitable venture. I'm going to do it again. Give me Notre Dame team total over 29.5.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't like the spread there. I wouldn't touch that.
It was really scary, so I went with just give me points.
Yeah,
that's all.
I don't see any way Notre Dame doesn't get to 30 here.
And to your point, Scott, I mean, which is worse, that they gave up 35 points to Cal, or they let Cal throw for 406 yards? I mean,
yeah, that was nuts. I watched that game.
I also didn't even mention they gave up 43 to Utah. So basically, any offense that's decent, and California for some reason in there, they just let go up and down the field. And USC goes in no huddle with Lincoln Riley, so you should be getting more possessions.
Right.
Yeah, they've given up at least 300 yards in 4 of their last 5 games through the air too. So,
well, and the other part of the game flow that may work to your benefit is that USC could get out to an early lead. And
that's true too.
Notre Dame has to chase. So, yeah, I'm a fan of that play. Very good. All right, Chris, what do you got? That's right. It's a 3-way. Chris, what do you got for this last play?
Oh, you're not going to play that sound effect that you came up with?
Right. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You're right. We loaded them up for a reason. Very good. Here's an oldie but a goodie. We're rocking on the 9s here. Traffic and weather on the 9s. We're going to play an oldie but a goodie. Spins that wins. Here we go, guys. Get ready for our 5,000-star whale play. Fade the Public Sharks 1 million unit lock of the century. I suppose this really should have been the farm play, but once we all brought it to the table independently, and that's kind of what we look for when we do the farm. Instead, it took us half an hour to come up with the fucking farm. Okay, Chris, kick it off, buddy. What you got?
I'm going to go with...
First of all, everybody place your bets as to what game this is. All right, I'll give you everybody a minute. Everybody think about it. What game do we have keyed up right now that we all 3 agree on? Everybody got it? Okay, lock it in. All right, here we go. Chris, what do you got?
I'm going to go with LSU over Texas A&M. I know the game's in College Station, but come on, like we talked about at the top of the show, Michelle bet on UMass getting a truckload of points against Texas A&M last week and didn't even have to worry about, sweating it out because Texas A&M only scored 20. Let's face it, the Aggies aren't very good. They give up 210.8.
That's an understatement. They're terrible.
I was trying to be generous. They give up 210.8. What's that?
You see the stands last week?
And nobody
it looked like a UMass home game.
Do you think there will be a decent crowd in this game? Like, I get the fact that LSU is a top 5, top 10 team. They have 7 losses on the year. Like, are people really going to be excited for this game if you're in College Station?
Yeah, the people that drove from Baton Rouge will be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think A&M is going to care. It's a rivalry game in conference, quote unquote, when one team cares and the other team has been eliminated for a couple weeks from bowl game contention at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the teams that they've lost to. You lost to Auburn, of all teams, a team that's gone nowhere. They lost to App State and at Kyle Field earlier this year.
They can't score.
Yeah, you're right.
That's very drivable. That's 5.5 hours from Baton Rouge to.
They'll make the trip. If they win out, I mean, of course, that involves beating Georgia, but if they win out, they're going to the playoff. Like, this is a very big game for LSU because they need to win out. It's a must-win game if they want to have any shot at making the playoff.
You think You think they are going to bump off, let's say, Michigan?
Yes.
I mean,
whoever loses,
it depends what Michigan does Saturday. If Michigan gets blown out of the water,
that's the point. Whoever loses that Michigan-Ohio State game, I think will get eliminated if LSU wins this and beats Georgia in the SEC title game, because Georgia's automatically going dancing. That's just going to happen.
Well,
and TCU runs the table. They're going to go in because they're undefeated.
Well, and TCU has a hard path there with they've got a decent team there to play as does LSU. So,
but they're not going to say no to an undefeated TCU team. So if they win out, they're going to. Oh no,
you can't. No, especially since they're already there.
To answer your question, though, if LSU wins out and you have TCU winning out, the loser of Michigan-Ohio State will be eliminated, if I had to guess.
You're going to put a 2-loss LSU team over a 1-loss Big Ten team.
Do they have 2 losses or they have 1 loss?
I thought they had 2 losses, didn't they?
They lost to Florida State.
I forgot about Florida State. That's right.
Remember, because we were talking during that game because they went down the field and missed the extra point.
Did they lose in conference play? I don't remember. They beat Alabama. Who'd they lose to in conference play?
Hang on. I thought
LSU was beaten by Tennessee on October 8th, 40-13.
That's actually tricky. I forgot they had 2 losses.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I mean, it is a loss to Tennessee, who was, sitting number 1 earlier in the
but Michigan,
the
Ohio State, the loss is to either Michigan or Ohio State. So you're kind of holding it against.
Yeah, but if you look at Michigan's non-conference, when you're talking about you beat UConn and Hawaii and Colorado State,
don't disrespect bowl game eligible UConn. That's disrespectful.
They beat them 59-0.
I'm joking. I know UConn's going to a bowl game though, but it is very, very tough.
Oregon got beat 49-3, and they were in the conversation.
Personally, I think TCU is going to lose, so I think it's not going to matter. But if TCU wins out, you have a serious discussion on your hands.
Who does TCU have this weekend?
They play Iowa State.
That's right. Which game are they going to lose? They're going to lose the Iowa State game. They lose the K-State game.
I think they're losing to Kansas State.
Yeah. I think it's very possible. It's going to be a very different team, but it's going to be more of a home game for TCU. But
yeah,
I think the Wildcats will travel well. They generally do. I think they'll go there instead of their bowl game.
But anyway,
okay.
First, back to your breakdown before we give our own pieces on the same exact game as you.
Well, like I said, Texas A&M, they give 211 yards per game on the ground. LSU, they don't necessarily throw the ball that well because, who's been impressed with Jaden Daniels when he tries to throw? He does more damage with his legs. Granted, he had 299 last week against UAB, but the week before he only threw for 86 yards against Arkansas. I think you're going to see LSU run the ball early and often. You look, the fewest times they've run the ball all season is 28, and that was against Tennessee. Every other game, they've run the ball at least 30 times. I think you're going to see them run the ball 40, 45 times here, just right down Texas A&M's throat. And the 12th man will not be in attendance at Kyle Field because they'll all be drinking somewhere else.
It'll literally be one dude. It'll literally be the 12th man is there. That's
And he's probably contractually obligated to be there because,
You guys are you guys old? I know you're not, right, Chelsea? Chris, you old enough to remember when they used to put the 12th man on the kickoff team?
Mm-hmm.
Put the number 12 on him?
Yep.
That's just the best right there, man. I also have the same play. This Aggies team, man, they have they have QUIT quit, man. They look like a team that just doesn't want to be there anymore. Chris touched on my main point. This team can't stop the run. And they can't score. So, other than that, they're fine. LSU, they do like to run. They can pass when they have to, but if they don't have to, they ain't going to. They're not going to call off the dogs. Talked about it earlier. They're going to put the brick on the accelerator and fucking walk away. They need every ounce of respect they can get. And if that means running it up on Texas A&M, they are happy to do that. Don't think point spreads. Don't think winning margins don't matter, because they do. I've got LSU minus the 9.5.
I got LSU.
I was going to point that out real quick. We were talking about the run. Texas A&M has given up 244 or more yards on the ground 5 times already this season.
Yep. I think it's going to be 6 after Saturday.
Yep, I'm going with LSU as well at minus 110 on BetMGM. I said hypothetically, if LSU wins out, maybe they end up going to the playoff. Maybe not, but the point is they need to, and they cannot afford to slip up before the conference title game, because they could be hypothetically in the playoffs. So I think LSU's going to be motivated. They had an out-of-conference game against UAB last week. They won comfortably. They've been game planning for this game for several weeks. A&M's been trying to game plan for this game. I'm just not sure the players are listening because of the NIL deals, and you had a bunch of controversies involving the players smoking in the locker room.
Weed smoking in the locker room.
Yeah.
Of all the schools, the one with the honor code.
Yeah.
You think there'd be a little extra degree of don't fucking do that. But no,
pretty much. But A&M, I don't exactly trust Jimbo's ability to get the team ready to roll when he's been trying to do that for about 3 months, and it has not worked. But A&M in conference play this season has been terrible. It's lost 6 of its first 7 conference games. I don't think a home game against LSU is going to change that. Once again, they only scored 20 against UMass. They're not a well-coached team. And even if Brian Kelly might be a bit of a dick and people don't like him, he's a better coach than Jimbo. I'm just going to say it. He's a good football coach, and I like what I've seen from LSU. Give me the Tigers to get the job done comfortably. They might win this game by 20+. It wouldn't surprise me. But no mercy, sweep the leg, LSU by double digits.
All right.
That brings us to our favorite segment. Scott Reichel talks about coaches that should be fired. Should Jimbo Fisher, Cliff Kingsbury, or Patrick Ewing be the first coach of the group to be fired? Cast your votes now. It's only $4.99 a vote.
Jimbo should be, but that's a lot of money. A&M can afford it, but do you think he's done?
I mean, obviously, if they've had issues with the honor code and everything else, you have to think they've tuned him out completely at this point.
I don't think he's done anything well, because as you said before, there's off-the-field stuff too. And now they actually have an invisible salary cap where they're paying players to show up for recruiting, and they're still being terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know how he survives this season. I just don't.
So it might be his last game, and the players, I don't think, really care. I think that they've already checked. They checked out a month ago.
What's his contract status? I'm just going to see.
It's a huge buyout, but A&M was supposed to compete for a New Year's Six bowl. It wasn't realistic, but that was the expectations.
Sure.
And now they're not even going to a bowl game. That's why I faded them last week. Who cares? They just want the season to end already.
Fisher's contract is a 10-year, $95 million deal through 2031. If they were to fire him this year, they'd have to pay him almost $86 million because it's fully guaranteed.
$86 million?
Right.
Okay.
Although it's A&M, man. Those Texas schools, they got the money. Look at UT. They don't give a shit. Like 4 coaches in 6 years. Fucking buy them out. Write a check. I need to call Billy Bob. He needs to write a check for $83 million. There you go. We're done.
And the fun thing is that they don't even have any offset clauses in this deal. So if he goes and gets a job somewhere else, he gets that on top of the money that he would get from this buyout.
Good fucking money. I'll tell you what. In Mizzou, we do a bake sale. That's all. That's how
you have a car wash.
We do a car wash. We do a Speedo car wash. We don't. Me and my friends do that. We don't do that well, but we're out there helping. But yeah, seriously, you want to buy out a coach at Mizzou, you better be able to fucking make some brownies. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, good on them down there in Texas. All right, guys. So there it is. That is the second consensus of the year that Reichel and I have had. We had our other this is how long ago it was. Our other consensus, you know what it was, Reichel?
Yes, we had Kansas beating Duke, and they covered by a hook.
100%. It was back when KU was good.
I remember that game.
And then now we pile on our guest farmer here and Chris King. By the way, Chris King, if you didn't hear the news, going to be bringing back parlays, just parlays. So don't tune in looking for other shit. Don't do it.
That's right.
Don't do it. Although
don't tune in looking for leftover recipes or anything. Watch Good Eats with Alton Brown.
A little turkey hash. You can do that, right? So yeah, Chris will be on this Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. What does that be? 8 a.m. Central, and then you're gonna have to do the math from
really, really early on the West Coast.
You know where you live. It's
and if you don't, if they moved your house while you were sleeping, good luck finding it.
If you live on the West Coast, make sure you just check it out once you wake up. It'll be recorded. So it'll be right there on the Winners and Winers YouTube channel live. It's Chris. Tune in. Tell him how much you missed him. Stop saying in my comment section.
Are they still doing that?
Where's Chris King? I don't know. It ain't my day to watch him.
I'm sitting home. I'm sitting out on the front porch drinking lemonade. That's all anybody needs to know.
Shaking his fist at children on his yard. I guarantee it. All right. So
get off my lawn.
With that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And man, if we had a game where we all three agree on, and that's not the farm play, Jesus Christ, this has got to be a home run right here. All right, guys. Well, let's do it. It's time. It's Friday. I feel like some of you people out there aren't putting on your overalls. So stop it.
It's not Friday, actually.
What?
It's Wednesday.
It's not Friday.
But the game's Friday that we're talking about.
It's my Friday. You know what I'm doing tomorrow? I have 24 hours off. I'm going to get up, post my premium plays, and then I'm not doing another goddamn thing until Friday when I post my premium plays again. Can you believe it? Take 24 hours off.
I have to do the battle for Atlantis, so I don't get that.
Sorry. All right. Well, I got to do a bunch of shit today. I got to do like all my videos today. We had to do the college show. I got to do my videos for Thursday and Friday today. But I'm telling you.
Yeah, but I mean, the battle for Atlantis, they play tomorrow and Friday.
I know.
So I'll be editing World Cup podcast stuff, so I'll be busy. But
okay. Yeah, you guys were talking about that the other day. I didn't answer because I wasn't watching it. So
I was just turning it into I was just doing a brag. I didn't want to turn it into how I spent my summer. I don't give a fuck.
But I think you're forgetting about the fact that we don't really care what your schedule looks like. So.
You guys, you are not applying the Scott rule. How does it affect?
If it doesn't concern me, I don't care. I mean,
now see, you've got a loophole. You've got a loophole to the Scott rule, right, Shell? King, you got no fucking excuse. So,
sure I do. It's called I don't care.
That'll be number 7.
I have 24 hours off. What, do you want a medal or something? What do you want from us? Does that help? You want me to grab you a beer while you're on the couch? Like, what do you want?
I might actually drink. I haven't had, the last alcoholic beverage I've had, when the pandemic first started, there was this group on Facebook called the Pandemic Beer Chuggers.
You had a wine cooler.
I had my son brought me a craft beer from New Mexico, and I poured it out and I chugged that beer. That was probably somewhere around like the beginning of April in 2020. That's the last alcoholic beverage I've had. So I might actually go and have a drink or two on Thanksgiving. I'm not driving. I don't give a fuck. So there you go.
Oh, geez, I thought you had wine. I thought you had wine on your anniversary or something.
I'm just gonna drink the gravy.
I did. I had a glass of wine. Oh, Chris, here I am telling tall tales.
See that?
Right.
Yeah. How can you trust this guy? This guy's lying about stuff left and right. He doesn't have 24 hours off. He's gonna be sitting over there doing. He's just making this shit up.
Just trying to impress my friends and failing miserably. All right, here we go. Put your overalls on. Climb aboard your John Deere. Get that straw hat adjusted just right. We're not wearing our straw hats till we win again, by the way. Not again.
Okay. So here it is that I have it. We're
yes,
not gonna wear
you see mine. You see mine right there.
Right.
Climb aboard your John Deere and fire that bad boy up because, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. You've been patient. You'd be like, I know these guys are going to get it together, and you're right. It is time once again. Get out the checkbook. It's time to bet the farm.
By the way, for the record, when you say get it together, we have been going 2-1. For the record, on our picks, we have been going 2-1.
You're
but
fine.
The farm has been a little bit iffy.
We're profitable. We're making money. We're profitable for the entire season, and the farms have just not been bueno. Right?
Well, a reminder though, we were doing it daily. That was our favorite joint pick. While we're doing it for college, it's like our 4th favorite pick. So it's a little bit trickier to find a play we both love, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and that's not even counting premiums in my play of the day.
Yeah, it could be going down the line.
His 19th best pick.
It could be his 19th pick. It is my 4th. Basically.
Okay, so stop! Don't bet the farm. Don't just bet a small amount.
You can bet the farm. I'm just saying, if you've also been betting Scott's picks and my picks, you've made money overall. So
you're farming your ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're way out in the back 40. You can't even fucking see the house from where you are. You got so many farms. That's right. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with that, shall we? We're gonna play. I gotta get to it here. I didn't even. I know what we're gonna play. We're gonna play a little Big Ten action, and I use the term action quite loosely. Big Ten action. It is going to be the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. You've heard us talk many times about this Iowa defense, and I believe they've cashed a couple tickets for us on the unders and whatnot. because they've allowed less than 14 points of each of their last 4 games. Iowa, well, they've allowed less than 14 in 6 of their 7 home games. They're inspired to play great defense in front of the sick children. By the way, sick children may have their blinds closed tomorrow. This is not going to be a pretty game.
You mean Friday?
I mean Friday. Yes, I have. If you've just joined us, your host has no fucking idea what day it is. All right.
Yeah, we had to change it up for Thanksgiving, but it usually would be the day after because we record on Friday. But
totally thrown me. So yes,
but this game is on Friday. So
do you think we've made enough sick kids having to watch Iowa football jokes yet, or no? Do you think we got a couple more in us?
I might have one more. Do they have another home game?
No, but they might have another game. I hope they don't fly the kids out to watch Iowa on a neutral. I'll tell you that much.
There you go. But Scott just got it out of the way, just in case we forgot it. Scott just went ahead and got that one going for the Big Ten championship game. Nebraska, their offense, well, it's pretty good, you might say to yourself. Well, how about the fact that Nebraska misses Adrian Martinez? Does that tell you all you need to know? They've scored less than 15 points in each of their last 4 games. Seems like we got a couple trends there going, kids. They've also recorded less than 268 yards of offense in their last 4 games. Well, not surprising. You're not getting any yards, and you're not scoring. So
for a smaller sample size, by the way, it was like less than 180 in each of the last 2 games.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And we've talked a lot this season about how good this Iowa defense is. And it's the defense ain't the problem for that team. It's the problem they can't score. So but we're not going to get all fancy. We're just going to narrow it down. It's the farm. It's corn. It's the Huskers. What's not to love? The Bet the Farm Nebraska team total under 13.5. Oh, Chris been working on his ventriloquism. Dude, you are getting so good.
I know.
Wow, amazing. I mean,
the game total might be under 13.5 with the way these 2 offenses play football.
Unfortunately, Steen can only do ventriloquism with a dog's voice, but he can't do it for other people. But
that's right.
Inside the joke I made, there is one little truth that we didn't really mention. The game means something besides the fact that it's senior night or senior day for Iowa, because if they win, this atrocious offense will somehow make it to the Big Ten title game. So if they win,
that game will probably be over by the time the opening kickoff is done.
Probably. It's going to be a repeat of the Michigan game last year. But the point is, if Iowa wins, then they are officially in the conference title game. So they are motivated. They're at home. Nebraska's got nothing to play for. And they also blew a double-digit lead to Wisconsin last week in the 4th quarter. They've checked out. Iowa's defense will be ready to roll. 2 touchdowns against Iowa's defense. I don't see it happening. I like the under.
Rots of ruck. All right, guys. That's going to do it for the show. Don't forget, Chris, right after Black Friday, what are you calling it? You calling it Red Saturday? What are you calling it for Saturday, Chris?
Sure, Red Saturday works.
All right, you got Black Friday, Red Saturday, maybe Green Saturday because you're gonna be in the green, right?
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, fair enough. Gonna be making that green. Gonna be in the black, making green. There you go. Check out Chris's show, 9:00 Saturday morning, Eastern time. Adjust accordingly as you know where you are in the country. And for the rest of us, guys, have a great week. And we got a lot of college football. Got some early pro games. It's a feast, everybody. So everybody be careful. Drive safe and have a great Thanksgiving. I have the day off on Thursday. Pretty excited about it. I don't know if I mentioned it. Guys, have a great day. Good luck. We'll see you next week as we all head back to school. Later.